Well, this isn't unexpected news, but it's certainly very shocking and it's got a lot of people worried. As expected, 24 million households across England, Scotland and Wales are facing this massive hike in their energy bills. 9 million people more will be put into fuel poverty. And that's because the energy price cap is going to increase. That's the maximum that energy suppliers are allowed to charge customers. It's going up by 80% this autumn, which it really explains how much those suppliers are allowed to charge customers for each unit of energy that they use. We last saw an increase of that by 50% last year. So this is a massive increase on top of a previous massive increase. And that means that people are just not sure if they're going to be able to afford their energy bills. The cap used to be set twice per year, but it's now changed every 3 months, which also is just showing the volatility in the market. And I think, of course, things are only going in one direction.
Right. So what is driving the uptick in prices? Does a lot have to do with the war between Russia and Ukraine?
Indeed, energy bills have gone up for people by 150 to 175% in the last year. And energy buyers across Europe are desperate to buy up supplies for the winter, which could well be cold. We've had unusually hot summers, but now as the autumn is approaching the fall, people are going to be wanting to use their heating more. Wholesale costs have increased enormously, and that's what's been driving this increase. That accounts for over 70% of people's bills, the wholesale costs. So there isn't really much room as well for the suppliers to compete anymore. And at the same time, we've got rising inflation, rising interest rates, and general increase in cost of living, which means that people are more and more worried about whether or not they're actually going to be able to afford to heat their homes. That's obviously putting many people into a state of shock, and they're looking towards the government for some sort of support so that they will be able to survive the winter. Many people, of course, already in the past have had to choose between heat and eat, whether they should put on the heating one day or whether they should eat that day. Of course, that's going to tip more and more people into this category of fuel poverty.
And what can the government do to address this issue?
Well, the options to consumers are very limited. Previously, people could switch suppliers, but at the moment, the market's just crippled by those wholesale prices. So the only option for consumers is to limit their usage and save money elsewhere in their lives, and also to get access to benefits that they're entitled to from the state. But they are looking to the government, as you say, for help, and there may be help coming. But because of the Conservative Party leadership contest at the moment, we have a lame duck Prime Minister who's not really introducing any new expensive policies at the moment, as the Conservative Party chooses a new leader who will then eventually be the Prime Minister. And the two of those candidates, the two left, Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss, are arguing over what they will do to help people in this crisis. Of course, Rishi Sunak is famous for having helped people during the COVID times by spending a lot of money on furlough and making sure that people got paid even when they weren't able to work. He's promising the same approach to the energy crisis, the price of energy crisis. But Liz Truss has been saying she wants to drop taxes and she won't be giving out handouts to people. She believes the way to help people is to let them keep hold of more of their money in the first place. It's thought that she may well change that if and when she wins. It's likely that she will win and become the new Prime Minister, and that she may indeed work on giving people more subsidy. At the moment, the promise is that there'll be £400, a one-off £400 payment given to people in October to help with their bills, and more than 8 million low-income households receiving benefits will also get an extra £650. But that just really isn't enough for most people, and it's not going to really affect the overall crisis because the prices are rocketing so much. So in the final days of that leadership contest, which will decide who is the actual Prime Minister, the two candidates will be perhaps trying to find a way to reassure people that they're going to help them going forwards.
Jonathan Sacerdoti, thank you very much for that detailed report. Much appreciated.